well-deserved victory. Mercedes then are on top today. And after this round of the World Championship,
hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to F1 2017 and welcome back to round 7 in Canada. So as you can see, this is our first podium. Holy smokes. Let's hop right into the replay, and as always, skip ahead to the end if you want, but I'm gonna kind of narrate the whole thing. So let me see where to begin. Okay, we did all the practice programs, and I got purple in everything again except track acclimatization. I really struggle with that one, and I think it's because my line is not the line, you know what I mean? Like, the line that works the best for me is not necessarily the line that has all the little color dots on it. So I do struggle with that one. It started to rain. I had the best lap times in practice in FP1 and FP2. It started to rain. I skipped FP3, and then it rained for all three qualifying, and I was like I was P1 in Q1 for a while, and then toward the end, like, I got bumped back to second or third, but I made it to Q2. Same thing in Q2, I was P1, and then I got bumped back a couple, and then Q3, I ended up on the pole, which is where you saw we just started, and I was able to hold everybody off. It's a kind of a weird race. Sorry, I just got done, and it's like, whatever it takes to do a race, 40 minutes, my wrists feel like they're about to snap because I'm on the gamepad, and I'm going to have some tea. Be right back. I meant I'm actually going to drink some tea, not like I'm going to go somewhere and get some, and I'd be right back. So yeah, on the pole, and we were on, our strategy was what? Ultra soft, super soft. But I knew it was going to rain, and the thing is, you can't set like a rain pit stop strategy. You have to wait until it starts raining and then do it on the radio. So it does start raining. I'll hop in car when it starts looking like it's coming down. But Canada, man, I feel like this track, and I've heard a lot of people say this online, it's not an easy track, it's just a kind of a rhythmic track. Like, it's a track that you can kind of flow with. Like, it's a friendly track, which would make sense because it's in Canada. Canadians are extremely friendly. But yeah, I was on the pole, and then I finally got a start right. To be fair, it was dry, so all I really did was, dump the clutch at the right time. But I did hang on to first, and you saw I had a dice for it, just a little tiny bit with Bottas. I want to say that is Bottas. So, I don't know. Let's take a look in car. It may be raining now. It may have started. Camera is left and right. Let's see if we can get... Of course, it's at the other end. No rain yet. Let's go... Oh, there's a little rain. I just saw some. And we'll go in car. We'll go cockpit for a minute. This is how I race, and something that I realized that I'm not struggling with, but you can't see my mirrors. Now, you can adjust your position in the cockpit a little bit, and I can't really see my mirrors, and I think I'm relying too much on the proximity arrows and not enough on the mirrors, but I can be a bit of a menace. I practiced this race a couple times in just the Grand Prix mode, not the career mode, where you can like do any race you want. And I did this race in this car. It was dry. It didn't rain. I did it dry, but I noticed I was, like, as I was kind of scrapping, cars were bumping me and I was bumping cars, and I think it's because I'm not on a T-cam. And I can definitely understand why people use it, but something about racing games, like, I just have to be in cockpit. So we are, oh man, this thing doesn't tell you the lap. which I find very frustrating. This has got to be lap 5 because, yeah, I'm coming in to get my intermediates early. So let's make sure I get the right one. It's that one. Yeah. There we go. So I got my intermediates early, and this drops me to, well, 18 or 19. And I think, oh, you know what? I think, are we under safety car? Yeah, we are. As soon as the safety car came up, but before the field had formed up, I'm sorry this narration is like so half-assed. I seriously just came out of this race like when we started. Safety car came out, and before we'd even formed up, I pitted. So now I'm on intermediates. It is raining, but my thought was, since we're going to be going slow, let me go slow on intermediates behind the pace car, right? I won't be burning them up, but I pitted technically under a caution, and anybody else that wants intermediates is going to have to pit under a green flag. Or I guess some people going under this caution. No, I don't think they do, because let me hop back in car. If I could remember what order these came in, I would just go right to it instead of like scrolling through all of them. So we're at P18 right now, and it's like lap, I don't know, lap 5 it's got to be. So I don't think anybody else pits behind the safety car. I think everybody else stays out, because yeah, my Jeff was telling me, are we going back to, hey, sorry buddy, I was messing with my steering wheel. I think my Jeff is telling me that it's still too dry for intermediates, and I think that's why I came in, because I figured everybody else would stay out. So yeah, man, I'm still struggling with safety car, and I'm definitely struggling with virtual safety car. I can't, oh man, I can't really make sense of that. I mean, I follow like what to do as far as, you know, increasing your delta, but like I got Jeff yelling at me, telling me to slow down, and then I get passed. Like, I guess you can pass under virtual safety car. I don't know how that works, but it's I struggle with it. I definitely struggle with it. Anyway, so we'll go green again here, and then it really starts raining, and then I want to say the field pits. Spoiler alert. I know, like I said, I'm not much for narration, and I'm all keyed up because like I said, I just came out of this race. But podium, man, our first podium. I'm so stoked about that. And I was, because last week at Monaco, I was on the pole as well, and then I got bumped back, and it's because I took a transmission. But I was on the pole, and I was thinking, you know, I should probably bump the AI up. But when we get going again here, I got Raikkonen like on my bumper. And in fact, let me look at something. No, I was wondering if I could look behind me while we're in replay, same way you look behind in race. I know, like in Assetto Corsa, you can do that. Okay, so I think we're going green again. Yeah, we're green. And right, like after we go green, half the field pits. So we were in P18. And let me see where we come out of this. We're P15 now, so it's next lap, like half the field pits. And I believe at that point we're in like P4. And then it gets sort of interesting. Moment, please. I gotta check a text message. I know that's not very good YouTubing. But you know what, man? Pretend it's a live stream. Right. So I'm on intermediates. Everybody else is on, still on soft and super soft. I think I was one of the only people that's, no, that looks like purple. They're on ultra soft. I didn't think too many people started on ultra soft, but could be. Anyway, I think we're the only person up this far on intermediates. Everybody behind us is, everybody in front of us is not. So I feel like most of these people are about to pit. Yeah, smoking these fools. Hey, it's got to be Alonso. I gotta fight you for any position. Alright, so I want to say a bunch of people go in here. Yeah. And we just skate around. Yep. So we went from P15 to P4. So I was super pleased about my pit stop move to pit early, and then I want to say so get past this Haas. Get past it, ugly. Get past it, but there we go. So we're P3 now. Man, I love the pit stop and the interaction that you can have with your crew chief just with voice. And yeah, I like doing the races live, but I just can't talk. It's too much to concentrate on. It's too much to focus on. All right, let's go back out here. Yeah, it's just too much to focus on, but I love being able to just talk to my crew chief and ask him like pit stop information, and he tells you when the pit windows are and what tires they're going to put you on. You can select tires just with your voice. That's awesome. It's really a great feature, but I feel like I'm at odds with my crew chief sometimes, because like when I decided to come in, and then everybody else is in now, so I think we're P1, or we will be. Yep, so we're P1 now. So when I got on the radio as soon as that safety car came out, I got on the radio and said set intermediate, and they confirmed yes, your next tires will be intermediate, and then box this lap are the commands. And he's like, right, come in. And then I drive like 2 turns, and he says, I've got a new pit stop strategy. Do you want to accept it? And I'm like, man, no, I just told you what I want to do. So then you have to like keep current, and the whole system is very close to awesome. But it needs like that one little detail where, like when you override, it leaves it overridden and doesn't try to fix it at least until a certain number of laps have gone by. You can't ask you like 30 seconds later, you know, like, are you sure? Or even have it as an option where you can have him like push back on you. You know, you say set intermediates, and he's like, no man, the track is dry. You can't run intermediates. And maybe it already is that way, but I haven't like done anything that drastic, like tried to run intermediates on a dry track. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, man. But yeah, it's a different kind of track, and I've heard people say that it's really friendly to them. And it's definitely friendly to me. I have a good rhythm here. And I don't want to say that it's an easy track, because I don't necessarily know that it is. I feel like it's got some technical features. And some little, like this, turn 1, this little complex down here is kind of kooky. I actually struggle with that a little bit. This, I guess this would be like 4 and 5. But I can get through here okay. This always creeps me out because it's always so dark through here. And I'm not hugging the wall enough right there. I feel like I'm going a little too wide. But yeah, I have a good rhythm here. There's some tracks where I feel like I have some flow, and others where I don't, and this one I definitely do. So, yeah, man, we're doing it. I desperately needed this too, because I need to get some development points. We had one major upgrade come in that we got like several weeks ago. We ordered it, and it came in. Now, something that I did, I think that's one of the first upgrades that we've had to the car, because with my initial points, when I first started this profile, what I did was told the R&D team the first things I wanted to research were the reliability of further research, because I've watched some people play this online. I watched some YouTubers play this, and a lot of their things like don't come through. Like they'll spend 1,000 points to get a new floor pan or something, and 2 weeks later, Chris is like, it failed testing, and you have to spend another 500 points. So I spent, I think, 2,000 points, like 4 times 500. I bought 4 reliability upgrades for 500 points apiece that will hopefully reduce that or prevent that from happening. So now, to be fair, that's our first upgrade, and it went through. So it's not like we can say we have total reliability. We have 100% reliability, but we've got a sample of 1. So statistically, it ain't exactly compelling. But either way, we did have that go through, and we've got a couple others that are cooking. But we desperately needed a podium finish because we needed more points. We needed more development points. We needed more reputation. We needed to beat our rival, and we needed to... I don't know if you can get fired in this game, but I'm staying with Williams. I didn't want to get fired and have to go with Haas or Sauber or something. But either way, yeah, we needed a win, and I don't know what it is, because then we had that win in MotoGP as well in Argentina, and that just came out of nowhere. So I don't know. Maybe I've just been playing these games long enough. I've been on this maybe 2 months, 3 months, which is kind of new for me for a driving sim. I've been on Project Cars for a long time, Assetto Corsa, fairly long time. R Factor I'm kind of new to, and this I'm definitely new to. It's just been a couple of months. So yeah, I'm nothing but pleased with this game. I really, really like the graphics. I think they're very, very immersive. I am running Reshade, which is great. And for me, it really kind of changes the game and adds to the game, and I just like that. I mean, you can still see some of the polygons, some of the wireframe stuff, but that'll, every year it's going to get better and better. It is, and eventually it's just going to be completely rounded and smooth, and there won't be any poly at all. Who is this chasing me? Is this Bottas again? Yes, it is. He dogs me, and Raikkonen dogs me like the whole race. Well, the whole second half of the race. And I think, yeah, I'm really reluctant to fight for position, because I damaged the car, particularly the front wing. But I feel like I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with it. I kept my front wing for the entire race, which sounds like a ridiculous thing to say, but for me that is a serious accomplishment. I get into that. Same thing happened in Monaco. I get into that spiral where it's bump the wing, lose downforce, now you're oversteering like crazy, understeering like crazy, and then you bump the wing again even harder, and then it's just all over. Yeah, I feel like I'm starting to tiptoe a little bit, but pretty good grip on the inters. Yeah, a little bit tiptoey. Man, what a time to be a sim gamer. Are you kidding me? I mean, I can remember, I'll take you way back. And in fact, there's a YouTuber, Soap, the Sim Racer, and he's got the evolution of Formula 1 games. I think he's got the evolution of racing games. But this is going to sound totally mental and patting myself on the back, but this makes me so happy that I can actually dice with the AI and not get dropped like a bad habit. It's I know AI is not perfect, and I know a lot of people say racing AI is not even racing. It's so broken and mental, but I really I only race offline. I would love to get into iRacing, but my internet speed right now does not support that. Internet speed, internet reliability. I'm on a shared network in a hotel, and particularly on Friday and Saturday night when everybody's streaming Netflix and porn, good luck, man. But when I get back on my Google Fiber, I would love to get into iRacing and race against people. But for now, I'm strictly a single player racer, so that means it's AI. And there's good AI and there's not so good AI. I feel like this is really, really good AI. And for me to be able to dice with it and, defend a position, and like I said in that Argentina race, MotoGP, if I was pulling away and just, lapping second place, then we know the AI is potatoed. And if I was getting dropped, that's no fun either. But to be kind of right in the middle, where I can race, race with the AI, that really really makes me happy. I'm pleased to see that I've improved that far, and I'm looking forward to being able to crank it. I don't know how far I'm going to be able to take the AI on a gamepad. I've heard different things. I've heard some people say it's just absolutely hopeless, and you really can't play simulations like these on anything but not just a wheel, but a really, really good wheel. Like even a Logitech or a Thrustmaster or something is not going to do it. You need to get into like Fanatec and SimCube and the whole rig. It's that these sims are realistic enough that they deserve that kind of a wheel, and without it, you're really not playing the sim. I don't know if I agree with all that, but I feel like gamepad is, you're handicapped. You're playing at a significant disadvantage when you're on a gamepad. So I don't know how high I'll be able to crank the AI on a gamepad. But I'm pleased just to be able to compete. And, of course, in, July 11th? Yep, because this Friday is Friday the 13th. July 11th. And August 24th, F1 2018 comes out. So there's 20 rounds in a season, and I got what? 5 more weeks? And it's round 7, so I'll be able to get to round 12. And you know what? Maybe I'll do both. That's kind of goofy, right? Like every Friday I would have the next round from 2017 and then the first round from 2018 or whatever. I don't know. I'm not opposed because I'm really digging this game, and I don't know. I guess F1 2018 is supposed to be essentially the same game but with different drivers on different teams, a couple of different tracks, and a halo. And if that's the case, whatever. If there's no like significant jump in the quality of the render or whatever, significant jump in the quality of the physics, the graphics, gameplay, if it's just more of the same but with different teams and drivers, then whatever. Take my $60. So yeah, I'm just gonna let this roll, and that's my thing, man. I want you to be able to see the whole race, but I know virtually nobody is gonna sit through all of this, and that's totally cool. Because there's really, like, without graphics on board, position and everything, you really have no idea what's going on. All you know is I'm in first, Bottas is chasing me, and my intermediates are starting to cook off. And I think about halfway in. So I pit on lap 17, so that's coming up. And I want to say my intermediates are getting cooked enough that I switch over to soft while it's still raining, because I know I'm going to have to switch at some point, and I'm already starting to lose lap time. Maybe something? I don't know. I know I had a strategy. It all made perfect sense while I was doing it. Bottas is fun, but Raikkonen is the one, man. Because well, I'll tell you when it happens, because it's actually it's pretty strategic and it's very interesting. But I was as pleased as I could be with the outcome. I mean, obviously first would have been better, and I'm in first now, and I wish I could have hung on to it. But I did get all strategic, and that was cool. A little bit wide. I don't think I used DRS once in this race. Yeah, not a single time, because I was either out front or it was raining. And then, okay, so there goes Bottas. So it's got to be 16. It's got to be lap 16 or 17. Still in P1, yeah, my last lap was 11 seconds off my best, so I'm on some burned up inters. It's a shame that there's no way to get graphics, like race graphics, like a leaderboard or anything. You know what I heard? Oh, we'll go in car because we're not racing anybody. You know what I heard is the reason they can't do that is because FOM got all like upset about it because the graphics are so good that when you put the game graphics are so good, the actual render's so good, when you put the race graphics up there, like position and a leaderboard and just all the things that you see when you watch Formula One, when you put all that up there, FOM felt that looked too much like real race coverage, and they want to be like the only people that have that. Are we gonna pit here? Sure are. Let's go this way. So I get, it's lap 17 or 18, and I called for soft. And I'm gonna finish the race. We're gonna do it in 2 stops. First time to get inters, second time to get soft, and then we're done. Oh, I also had to serve a 5-second penalty, which may have cost me the race, but maybe not. I'll tell you why. Let's see where I come out here. I come out in front of Raikkonen and behind Perez. Check this out. So we're behind Perez now. He is on super soft, and it's lap 18, and I'm on soft, right? I chased this fool on Rich Mix for like 4 laps, and I'm about to stuff the car. Like he's so much faster than me. I'm about to wreck the car, and I finally recognize, because it shows you in the leaderboard what tire the drivers around you are on, and I finally like make peace with the fact that my man is on a softer compound, and there's no way I can keep up with him. And you know, when I think of Force India, I think of Force India from like 3 or 4 years ago when it was kind of a hot mess. Force India they're not the top 3, but they're definitely a contender. More so than they used to be. So part of me is like, Perez, why is Perez in front of me? Why is Perez in front of a car with a Mercedes motor in it? Get back here. And I chase him and chase him and chase him, and he just gradually pulls away from me, and I finally come off Rich Mix and let him go. I'm glad that I did, because with just a couple laps to go, crew chief Jeff is like, hey man, we got to be really careful with fuel. You might want to think about lifting a little bit because we're getting way low on gas. That's Ricardo behind me, or is that Raikkonen? Moment. We get a back view. The reflection on that, I can't tell sometimes if that is a Ferrari. Yeah, that's Raikkonen. This gangster dogs me for the rest of the race, so we're going to leave it in external camera. Yeah, it's basically this for the next whatever 15 laps. But Perez, I finally give up on Perez and I back my fuel off. I back down to mix 2, and I'm glad that I did because, well, the crew chief Jeff would have like gradually gotten more and more upset and started telling me like, man, you're definitely going to run out of fuel if you don't turn it down. So the first time that he mentioned it was like with 2 laps to go or 3 laps to go, so we were okay. But I knew I wasn't going to catch Perez even on Rich, so I backed off him, and we're in P3 now. Yeah, we're in P3, and I just basically fight off Raikkonen for the rest of this race. And what's crazy is he's got DRS on me. Like, he's got DRS on me right there. He's got DRS on me over and over and over again, and I just keep fighting him off without taking damage to the car. So, yeah, it's like a banner day for me, man. It's an accomplishment, you know? It's the little things. So Perez, right? So I let Perez go, and I figured, oh, that's cool. He's on super soft. He's got to pit one more time. And every 2 or 3 laps, Jeff would come on the radio and be like, you know, gap to the car ahead is 8 seconds, gap to the car ahead is 13 seconds, gap to the car ahead is 19 seconds. And I'm like, that's cool. You know, at some point, he's going to pit, and if it's more than like, I don't know, 23, 24 seconds, then he may pit and still come out in front of me, but at least he's going to pit. Oh, fighting off Raikkonen without contact. I'm so happy. But I figured Perez was going to pit at some point, and another spoiler alert, he just never does. He just gets gradually further and further ahead. So I'm curious if we could have finished this race on super soft and been more competitive. Because I'm on soft, Raikkonen's on soft. I'll try to see if we can see any of these other cars. Who else is on soft? But Perez is in front of me. Perez is in P2, and Hamilton is in P1, and he is on super soft as well. He starts setting fast lap of the race over and over and over. Like the last 10 laps, he sets fast lap every lap. It's a drying track. But yeah, man, Raikkonen was like, which is kind of what he's done in real life the past 2 or 3 races. He's just been like chasing P3. Wants that podium. So yeah, I was tempted to, because you can take the AI up and down anytime you want. I was tempted to take the AI up after that second pole position. But then I thought, no, I actually wasn't a pole position in Monaco. I got the best time, then I ended up starting back of the grid. And here it was raining. I qualified on the pole in the rain, but didn't win the race, and certainly didn't win it easily. So I think I'm not quite ready to. Let me see if I can get a couple podiums in a row before I get all cocky and start cranking the AI up. Like, oh yeah, I'm such a expert Formula One sim racer. I can crank the AI to tab I want. Not quite ready yet. I do like when I can race the AI. I like when I can race anybody, but like I said, I'm single player right now, so it's got to be the AI for the moment. This turn is a little, or these 2 turns, a little weird for me. Wow, I got a train back there. Man, it's certainly different than round 1. I don't want to start a profile again, but I guess in a way with F1 2018 coming out, it's the next best thing, because it'll be like an excuse to start a new profile. And I'm guessing the first half of the season, like I'm trying to think what's different in, as far as, I know some drivers have moved around and they added the halo, but I'm trying to think, I know the calendar is slightly different in 2018. I want to say it starts just about the same. See, I'm not in rich mix right here, but I'm still pulling away, and that, I wouldn't say that it bothers me, but come on, man. There's no way, even with a Mercedes motor, there's no way a Williams is pulling away from two Ferraris. And I want to say it's, yeah, it's Raikkonen and Vettel behind me. No, Raikkonen and Ricciardo, maybe? And Ricciardo's out. They're stopping. Anyway, there's a Ferrari and a Red Bull behind me, and I'm pulling away from them on the straight when they have DRS, and I'm not in rich mix, and that's not really, I wouldn't say that's terribly accurate. Wow. Trying to see, it looks like, oh, I can go back through the drivers if I want. So let's try this. So there's Raikkonen. There is a Red Bull, and I can't tell. Who's it? 3 is, that is Ricciardo, is it not? And behind him is Vettel. And that's got to be Bottas, because Hamilton is in first. And then this is Verstappen. So yeah, that's what I've got behind me. 2 Red Bull, 2 Ferrari, and a Works Mercedes. And I'm holding my own. That's not legit. I mean, I'll take it for now. I will gradually crank the AI, but I'm not gonna go all crazy till I get it. At least a couple podiums in a row, or a win or whatever. Really curious where I end up in the standings. I needed this as well because I have to finish 9th or better for the season, and I'm in 7th, so this will give me a nice little bump. I think we're getting close to being done here. Trying to think of the tracks that I've done so far that I've felt really comfortable on. And I never really felt comfortable in Russia. Monaco is just a nightmare for me. Australia's sort of in between. China, I actually felt okay on China. I had a kind of a good rhythm there. I'm trying to think where else we've been so far this year. Spain felt all right. It's weird for me to see YouTubers, and you can look on their channel, and they've been YouTubing Codemaster F1 games since like F1 2013 or something. But they do these races like multiple times per year. And some of these tracks, it's like the first time that I've been on them. It's just the 2 Ferraris. I want to say, well, I know Ricciardo fell out at some point, but I think we can scroll back. So there's Raikkonen, and there's Vettel, and now Bottas. And then the 2 Red Bulls. Okay. Right. So I'm trying not to jump around too much here. So there's Bottas making a move on Raikkonen. Oh no, that's Raikkonen making a move on me. And not getting it. Okay. Well, good for me, man. Yeah, the thing that I think I'm happiest about is that I was able to defend some of these positions without damaging the car. That's something I've really struggled with to date, is being able to hold the line, defend the line, and use the proximity arrows to not bust the car up. Local yellow, yeah, something's going on down in turn 1, I want to say. Yeah, well, not turn 1. Right before the chicane there. Yeah. Oh, there's Vettel and Raikkonen going at it. That's right. Tie each other up and leave me alone. I'm sort of amazed that I was able to do this, even with the AI backed off. And it's not backed completely off. I mean, it's still, I mean, for me, it's pretty stout. But I'm amazed that I kept that train. I'm not always the most consistent with my laps. So I'm amazed that I was able to run 18 laps without making a mistake and having all of them just like zoom past me. You know what I'm saying. Oh. So we're pretty close to the end because I remember bouncing over that curb. Yeah, maybe F1 2018 will have a way that you can overlay some graphics on a replay. I know there are some YouTubers and how they do it is they record in car with the graphics, like the leaderboard and everything, and then they record the camera TV coverage replay, and then this one guy actually records it for different cars. So yeah, like when they cover a Grand Prix, when they do TV coverage of a Grand Prix, they don't just cover one car, they cover the entire race. So he actually like goes back and kind of isolates any good passes or battles that there are during the race, even if it doesn't involve him, which is, I think it's super classy. And just the way he calls the race is amazing. It is absolutely restaurant quality. Like, if you heard this cat, if you flipped on your TV, if you flipped on the radio, whatever, however, stream, whatever, however you listen to Formula One, if you heard this cat calling a real Formula One race, exactly the way he calls his sim races, get off me, Kimi Räikkönen, leave me alone. If you heard that the way or if I heard it, I don't know what you would think, but if I heard that, I would be like, yeah, it's F1 coverage. It's exactly what it sounds like. So he's clearly a lifelong F1 fan, and he knows how to do the Formula One voice. But it's a lot of editing, and for one thing, I don't want to get into that much editing. But for another thing, that's his thing. Like he does that. I don't want to do what he does. So I'm trying to figure out a way that I can do it. Make it my own. And I haven't figured it out yet. So for now, we're just doing the full replay, and then you got to listen to me drone on and on. Which I suppose is not the worst thing. Right. Now I'm told that this game can have random mechanical failures. But I don't know how random they are, if they're related to how... I mean, I know it has something to do with how reliable the car is, but I don't know, like if you're banging over a curb every single lap, right? Is that going to jack things up, or like if you drive the car super smooth, is that going to keep it intact longer, or is it just like, you know, hydraulic failure, you're done, like for not for no reason, but you know what I mean, like without any warning or anything. Like, I know in Spain we were having transmission problems, but we were using an old gearbox, so that wasn't exactly like when crew chief Jeff told me I wasn't perplexed like why that was happening. I knew it was because we had an old banged up gearbox. But then it did eventually start working again, which is interesting. And I guess some of that stuff they can fix like through telemetry or like remotely or whatever. It's badass, man. It's some technology, yo. We got to be nearly done by now. Wow. I mean, I knew he was close for a while, but this is, yeah. So Ricardo's out now. This is sort of like I'm kind of digging watching this. I had no idea Raikkonen was like that on me for this many laps, and I was able to like keep my wits about me. It's tough for me to stay composed sometimes, but like it's these races, man, they get kind of intense, and this isn't even super intense. This is like the AI is dialed back, and you know, it's my first season, still learning. But if you had this set to maximum realism, this could give you a heart attack, man. Oh, it's crazy. A little piece of flower or something, like dandelion or something floating across there. That's awesome. It's the details, man. Details make a game. Why is everybody backed off? It's interesting. Did I have a great lap, or are they backing off? It's crazy to see like where he makes up time and where I pull away. I feel like I got him on power. And we did. We got an aerodynamic upgrade. That was what came in this week. And I feel like my tires were starting to go away. My softs were starting to go away, and I was really kind of baffled that Perez never pitted on his super soft. Yeah, I feel like... No, he's got DRS on me. It didn't matter. I just drop him on that straight, even in mix 2. Clearly, I'm slowing down for that chicane way too much. Look at the time he just made up. That's crazy. And I could be carrying more speed through there and pushing a little bit more to the outside, letting it carry, you know what I mean? Letting it kind of haze to the outside. Some of these lines, though, I feel like are not. They're not terrible. Oh, Bahrain is the other race that we did this year. That track was. I felt like I had pretty good rhythm at Bahrain. Yeah, DRS all the way. Huh. But then I get hammered through the chicane every time. But all the time they make up. Alright, well, we'll know for next year. Curious how accurate the drivers' personalities are in this game, because that is, when I think of somebody like just dogging you for a podium, for some reason I really do think of Kimi Räikkönen. Like it seems like he does that so many times, and he's had all those podiums with no first place in the past few years. It's like he just claws his way into third place. He's relentless. So it's funny that he's the one who's dogging me, trying to get the podium and bump me. Good for him, man. I like that guy. I can't believe he's still racing. He's like the Jaromir Jagr of Formula One. Oh. I also can't believe I didn't hit the wall in that hairpin. Not once today. Because it seems like I've struggled with it in the past. Like through practice and learning the track and everything. I thought for sure I would have gone wide there. I'm going wide less. Maybe that has something to do with the aerodynamic package. Who knows? Is this it? One more. I'm not bored or anything. It's been going on almost an hour. I want to get the video wrapped up. I mean, you know what I mean. I want it to go to the end, but yeah, I could carry wider there. Not the best line. Yeah, I know when I bump the AI up, things like what I just did right there, like being that far off the ideal line, I know it's just going to kick my ass, but baby steps, yo. Nailed it that time. Yay me. Oh, that was the AI driving. It's the end of the race. Right. Exit. So we go here. And let's see how we did on points. So, third. Let me get my controller. And let me see where we are for the season now. 8th. Fantastic. Up from, looks like up 1 maybe. Is that right? Yeah, we're in 9th maybe. And constructor 5th. I don't think anything's going on there. Okay, cool. There you go. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of F1 2017, Round 7 from Canada. We'll see you next time. Take care now.